There's a film I love but which has an ending that leaves its legacy somewhat blurry and confused, and that film is American Psycho. For a long time, it too had me strangely pondering what it all really meant until only very recently, and in an effort to remove such confusion for such a great film, I have to explain or at least offer up some other interpretations for you to see. The point I specifically want to examine is the infamous realtor scene where Patrick Bateman visits Paul Allen's apartment to clean up his chaotic bloody mess. When he arrives to do so, he is met with something completely different. The place is already clean, and more than that, it is immaculate. Any evidence of his murder of Paul Allen is wiped away, and instead we get a mysterious real estate agent who cryptically tells him to leave and never come back. Although she never says it directly, it's implied that she knows of the evil that Bateman enacted, but chooses to look the other way. This scene never made sense to me because I never understood if it was real or not. And if it was real, why did she not simply call the police on Bateman? But then the realization came among some discussions with a friend as he asked me, would the apartment be as worth as much if the realtor disclosed to potential buyers the brutality of the crime committed there? No. And why is that important? Well, because American Psycho is a film about the obsessiveness for wealth and the constant psychotic drive for excess. It centers on a character who chooses to wear a mask of materialism because his true nature doesn't exist. Everything about the film is portraying the hysterical need for style, money, and status in an overly consumeristic, superficial world. That's why the realtor turned Bateman away and warned him not to come back. She didn't care if he had murdered someone. She only cared about her bottom line. And having a dead body ruin her cut of the profits was way worse than letting some psychotic killer loose on the streets. This also explains the rest of the film from that point on, as we watch Bateman confess to his other murders, including the one of Paul Allen. But here again, he is met with confused faces and people that laugh it off. To me, it's speaking to that idea that on Wall Street, you could get away with murder. And Bateman, as an investment banker, the film is saying that he is literally getting away with murder. Not just once, but again and again. So long as Bateman is a provider and importantly a consumer, he is given freedom to continue doing whatever he pleases. This is why the lines of what's real or not become so blurred. Bateman is realizing that the so-called laws he once abided by are no longer applying to him. He doesn't know what kind of reality he has entered into. Everything is getting muddied, and if he can't trust his own perception of events, who can he really trust? I want to also explain one final thing from the movie, in that if everything occurred is actually real, then why or how could it be possible that Paul Allen is still alive when one of Bateman's friends tells him that he had dinner with him in London? To me, this is actually a nice callback to the business card scene where Bateman remarks how almost all of his friends and colleagues look the same. It's the same reason why he gets mistaken for being Paul Allen himself, because the whole idea of each business worker looking the same works perfectly into that theme of a psychotic drive to fit in, to keep up with the same style. This wasn't just Bateman or those in Wall Street. It was a whole group of people just like him, wanting the same things, doing the same things. The chase for status and money that led people through a bottleneck to ensure that each of them were pressured into thinking, looking, and acting the same way, like one collective hive mind, all wanting the same prize. That's why we get scenes like the comparisons of business cards, hyper-focusing and obsessing over the most minute details in a desperate attempt to try and stand out. It's like they want to differentiate themselves, but only ever so slightly. They must stick to the crowd. They must stick to the trends. They must fit in. Thus, it's more than likely possible that to Bateman's friend and the person who he had dinner with could simply be someone that looked like Paul Allen. Or even better so, it was actually another person, but of the same name, a generic John Smith, which only adds to that idea that everyone in this world wants to be the same person. They want to blend in. And it may even be a hilarious take that perhaps even Bateman mistook who he murdered as Paul Allen, and that actually it was someone completely different altogether. In either sense, the outcome remains the same. In American Psycho, the only thing bigger than God is the pursuit of money and power and status. Everything else doesn't exist, and everything else doesn't matter. This is the dark nature of humankind, where what was once a psychopathic desire for more and more turns into something truly psychotic, where laws no longer apply, where murder is overlooked, and where everything looks the same. The lines of reality and fiction are blurred, and trying to discern the difference leaves you only looking Stranger, there is nothing left but money and power. Your attempts at finding the truth lead you nowhere.
And I gain no deeper knowledge of myself. No new knowledge can be extracted from my telling. This confession has meant nothing.
Well, the one thing I think is a failure on my part is people keep coming out of this film thinking that it's all a dream, and I never intended it. All I wanted was it to be ambiguous in the way that the book was.
Why did they think that?
I think it's a failing of mine in the final scene that I just got the emphasis wrong, because I should have left it just more open-ended without wanting to give the plot away. It makes it seem like it's, I guess clearly, because people keep saying this to me, it makes it look like it was all in his head, and it's, as far as I'm concerned, it's not.
I never wanted anyone more than you.